Hi, everybody, and welcome to my GoFundMe, James Littlejohn, and a short introduction to who I am. What am I trying to do? What is my goal? And just a little background, really. This is ultimately linked to other projects that I'm doing, if you like, and ways I'm giving back to the community. And I'll explain a little bit about in the introduction on how I achieve this. But ultimately, why am I asking for? What am I looking at? You've looked at my page and you've come across and you've seen somebody who's wanting £500,000. Considerable sum of money, they must say. And yes, it is. Yes, it is. My starting goal is 16,000 as per the advice of the system, so to speak. But ultimately, what I'm trying to achieve here is a dream. It is a dream. It's not even something that if I wasn't to get it, would I be mad? No, because it's a dream. It's something that I'm reliant on a lot of other things to happen to be able to do it. I'm not adverse to the fact that there's going to be a lot of work that goes along with this. It is incorporated with something that I do. I do a mental health podcast, which is currently on YouTube and currently on TikTok. I've been doing that for a long time. I've done podcasts before. This all isn't a quick idea. This is not something that's just come to fruition overnight. I started this journey about 6 years ago. I tried a GoFundMe 6 years ago. Once I got to about £400, I started to get some rhythm. I started to build it around my podcast. And ultimately what happened is I got scared. I don't know why. I felt like I was begging for money. I felt that there was a perception about me. And ultimately what happened was I refunded all the money. I shut down my dream. And I moved forward, and then I navigated my way through corporate life. One of the things that I don't have the luxury of having is enjoying corporate life. I've been diagnosed with ADHD and autism, and I've been running with that for the best part of 5 years and learning about myself and understanding about myself. And basically, I got to 44 this year, and I thought to myself, I can do this job. I'm financially stable and enough to live my life at this current standard. I can't afford luxury holidays and all that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, I've got a roof over my head. My three daughters are have a roof over their head, and they're catered for. We have food on the table. So for me, that is a luxury, and that is a luxury in today's standards. Unfortunate to say. So, but if I carried on the way I was going, I would get to the point when my kids have flown the coop as such and such like. I would get to a point where I would be relatively able to live and have a holiday a year. So why am I doing this then? Why am I asking for this money? Well, I don't have the capacity to save to get to the point where I would be able to do this dream. It would take me a very long time. And as I say, I'm 44. I'm late to the game in wanting a dream. I've given vast amounts of my time. I've served in the Royal Air Force, and I've done my tenure in Royal Air Force. I've served in government organisations, and I've paid my due diligence. And what I want is to still do my due diligence, but I want to be happy doing it. And going through the corporate life with ADHD and autism is very difficult for me. And I've realised now that I don't know whether I can sustain another 20 years doing what I'm doing, but what I'm doing now is lucrative enough for me to be comfortable, but not enough to make me happy. So do you see what I mean? So I don't know how to do that. I didn't know what to do. And basically I've reinvigorated the spirit on this again. So I've reinvigorated my mental health podcast. I've reinvigorated supporting people with mental health issues. I've trying to give knowledge, experience, and challenges that I faced. But ultimately, my goal is to have a dream, and my dream is to own, and this is the crux of it, is a kennel or a cattery. I want to live and work with dogs. I want to be able to get to the point where I can pay for it outright, hence the GoFundMe, so that the GoFundMe makes it so I don't have to have a mortgage at the end of it. And then everything that comes through is enough to live my standard life, which is what I'm used to now, without worrying or stressing, but doing something I love every single day. And that's working with dogs. I've done a plethora of education from Reiki healing to CBD with dogs to training dogs, all sorts. I've literally spent about £1,000 on training certificates, including grooming and everything else. And what my goal is to have a dream, is to have a kennel where I can do all of this under one roof and get to the point where I can do it and enjoy it and get up 7 days a week and do something that I love. that is my dream. Now, it shouldn't be a dream in today's standard, but unfortunately it is. It is a dream. And the higher you go in the corporate world, the more stress there is. It's not a fun environment to be in. I want to be able to be free. I want to be able to be myself. And what I want to do is build a social media following around that, like we see all the time, of people sharing their dreams and bringing people along for the dreams, but ultimately giving back to the community by reducing rates, having very affordable rates so that people can still go on holidays and have their dog cared for, run it, sustainability, incorporate sustainability, everything. I've got this dream that's been fizzled around in my brain for the last 6 years, and I want to see it come to fruition. I really do. I know I've not been focused on the camera because I'm so focused on just, I can envision this dream. That's how passionate I am, and I don't know how to get there. It will be incorporating artwork. It'll be incorporating selling of artwork. It'll be plugging this. It'll be doing everything I can to try and see this dream come to fruition. If it doesn't, and it gets to the point where there's a substantial amount of money, and I don't see the point where that's going to go, don't worry. It'll always be given back to a dog's trust or something like that. It'll always fold in. I hope it doesn't get to that. My dream is to start it, get to a point where we can start seeing this rolling in and build everything around it. I don't know how to get there. That's why I'm reliant on this process. So a little bit about me, just to give you an understanding and an idea, and hopefully it's enough to inspire you to support me and enjoy the journey with me. So I've tagged in my Facebook for my design page, where I'll be building design work and selling design work. Everything that I make from the sales of that will be going straight into my GoFundMe, like a savings account. And it'll all be linked together in that side of things. I've also got my TikTok on there because I do a mental health podcast and I talk about challenges of life. I also, talk about everything and anything. So basically, I've linked those to my TikTok, and I've also linked it to my Spotify and my YouTube, Spotify and YouTube, to see the video versions of me talking away in the camera. So hopefully, I've done some inspirational stuff there for you, and you'll value and relish in joining me in the journey as I build my ultimate dream. I think it's so important to try and get this. I just wish we didn't have to dream it. This is the point, and I want to be able to give back as well. So lots of important stuff coming along, and hopefully you'll join me along the journey. So thanks for listening. Take care.